Alrighty, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching and tuning in today. Welcome to the Jira Service Management Fundamentals webinar. We are thrilled to have you here for this basic overview of Jira Service Management. My name's Alexis Heritage. I'm a consultant here at Valiantys, and today I'm going to guide you through JSM's powerful features, highlighting how it can transform your service management workflows and enhance efficiency for your teams. Just a little bit about Valiantys. We are a platinum partner solution for Atlassian. We provide consulting, licensing, integration, and training services for organizations all shapes and sizes worldwide. Whether you're on cloud or data center, our platform expertise is built on 100% dedication to the Atlassian ecosystem. We are a 13-time Atlassian Partner of the Year award winner. We have collaborations with over 65 Fortune 500 companies. We have a full stack development center for custom solutions and integrations. And we were, in fact, Atlassian's first global partner. And we do offer 24/7 global coverage with a team of 600 plus experts. We are uniquely positioned to help you maximize the value of your Atlassian tools. So, how can we help? At Valiantys, we specialize in a range of services centered around Atlassian products. We have consulting to help you optimize tools and processes. We do licensing to ensure compliance and cost efficiency. We have integration and development for custom solutions, managed services for ongoing support, and training to empower your teams, just like the one that you're in today. For a full list of our services, visit valiantys.com/services. In addition to trainings like you see here, we do offer interactive boot camps for in-depth learning. We do have one specific for Jira Service Management, which is called our Jira Service Management Bootcamp. It is a 2-day workshop where we cover everything you need to know to effectively and efficiently use and administer Jira Service Management. This course is designed for service desk managers, service desk administrators, as well as people who are just looking to get their feet wet and learn about Jira Service Management. To learn more about our boot camps, visit valiantys.com/training. And our next boot camp is going to be on June 3rd, so make sure to either click the QR code or visit valiantys.com/training to register. Now that we have our basics out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at our agenda for this webinar today. So, what we have here is we just went through our introduction. Now we're going to go through, actually, no, we are not through introduction. We have a little bit more introduction in terms of JSM rather than about this webinar. Then we'll get into some demo and just walk through some very key basic features. And then at the end, as time allows, we're going to cover any of your questions you have. That way we can make sure that we can answer. And if there's anything that we don't get the answer to at the end, we will be sure to follow up. So, what is Jira Service Management and who is it for? Initially designed for IT service management, JSM has evolved into a very robust platform that really serves any type of service team, from HR, legal, marketing, payroll, and beyond. Whether you're providing a service or receiving customer requests, JSM offers invaluable tools to help streamline operations. Key benefits include a customer facing help center and project portals. These are clean and simple interfaces for non-technical users to be able to submit their requests. There are SLAs, or otherwise known as service level agreements. These measure time to respond and resolve. You have a knowledge base integration, which is powered by Confluence. This is to help self-serve and guide not only your customers, but your agents as well. There are ITIL-based workflows to help represent processes such as request management, incident management, problem management, and change management. There are official approvals built in to allow for single step or multi step approvals, which also allow for a good audit and historical tracking of those approvals. There are queues, which are saved filters that help agents triage tickets and also work them. With the many different ways besides of the help portal being able to allow users to submit tickets, there's also the way of email creation, which automatically creates a ticket from an inbound email into your project. There is the virtual agent, which is powered by Atlassian's AI. It is a chatbot. It is available on premium and enterprise editions of Jira Service Management, which does connect not only to your help portal, but also to Slack and Microsoft Teams. Speaking with Microsoft Teams and Slack, there's also the conversational ticketing, whether that is via Slack and Microsoft Teams or through the portal by going back and forth between the customer and the agent, which is yourself. And there's built-in automation to streamline repetitive tasks. Jira for Automation does a really good job of providing a wide range of services to be able to automate any task that you could think of. JSM does integrate seamlessly with Jira software. So if you're already familiar with Jira, the learning curve here is going to be very minimal. Even if you're new to JSM, JSM works as a standalone product. So if you don't know Jira software, it's totally okay. You'll be able to ensure accessibility for all users, and you're going to still be able to customize it to exactly how you need. Within Jira Service Management, you typically have three sets of roles. You have your customers. These are the people who are using the Help Center to raise tickets. They are wanting the help. They can share requests to one another, and they can also view knowledge base articles. Then you have your service desk team. These are going to be your agents. These are people who are working these requests that are submitted. They'll work out of queues. They will be the ones who utilize reporting and who the SLA is being tracked against. And they can also manage the customers in the project. And then you have your service admin, which is the official role is known as the project administrator. They can perform all agent tasks, including configuring the portals, request type, queues, reports, and SLAs. We do also have a advanced Jira Service Management webinar. This one includes covering advanced features such as managing incidents, changes, assets. To explore these more in depth, we do invite you to join our JSM for ITSM webinar. Go ahead and scan the QR code on this screen here, or you can visit valiantys.com/training to keep an eye on that session for ITSM, which this is on May 15th. So now that we got our introduction out of the way, let's go ahead and get into our demo. The demo that we're going to start with, we're going to go into the customer experience. During this webinar, if you have any questions, feel free to submit them. There is a Q&A section. If you go ahead and put your question in there at the end, I'll be able to come back to them and answer them. If there's any that we miss, like I said in a previous area, we will be able to contact and reach out outside to make sure that we get all of your questions answered. Now, without further ado, let's officially dive in. So what is on my screen here? This is the Help Center. The Help Center is a group of Jira Service Management projects where customers can submit requests. They can view the status of their requests, as well as any requests that have been shared with them. They can access knowledge base articles for self-service on common troubleshooting and answers to general questions, and provide approvals to required requests. For example, features as the search bar or topics ensure customers can find the right information quickly. For example, let's say an employee is having trouble with connecting to the VPN on their laptop from home. Rather than an employee putting a ticket every time this occurs, you can create a VPN troubleshooting article. To bring up this article, we're going to type in VPN, which would be the start of what we're searching for. And now what we're going to see here is we have some articles related to VPN. So if I click on this first one that is for VPN troubleshooting, I'm going to be brought with the document that's going to give me the troubleshooting steps. For instance, the first step we're going to make sure is that your cat is not on your keyboard. You can also customize your Help Center layout to tailor to a one-stop shop. For example, you can create additional sections to display common links and access your employees might need. So, for example, I just have basic links here, such as YouTube, our training website, and Google, but you could provide links to your company's holiday. That way, it's very quick to access when employees are in office or out of office. You could include a link to your time tracking, or even for the payroll, or even additional system that maybe JSM is not covering those request submissions. you can include a link to that one. That way it's still a one-stop shop to submit to. You can also add specific line of text information, which is a list containing a guidance of what request should be submitted in the project. Just to kind of give an overview, instead of going through these descriptions on your portal, maybe you have a section that says these following projects are used for X information, especially if you have some projects that may seem more closely related in process to end users. The Help Center does have the ability to add an announcement to display. So on our portal right here, we have our Help Center can now be localized. This is an announcement banner that will display on this section. If you go into another project's portal, this announcement will go away, but you do have the ability per project to add an announcement banner itself. So we are covering over the portal right here. However, the portal is not the only way that customers can submit tickets. I did mention before there's that email channel. Every Jira Service Management project is configured with a default email address that users can email to submit tickets. This email address can be changed. There is also chat widgets. These are configured on other websites that will link to your project. Most commonly, you'll see these chat widgets on big company support websites, for example, Best Buy. The little small person in the bottom right-hand corner pops up and says, "Hi, how can I help you?" That's most likely what we call a chat widget. There is our very powerful Help Center that you see here. There is chat integration with Slack and Microsoft Teams. And we also do have the virtual agent, which can be used on the Help Center, Slack, and Microsoft Teams as well. With that deep dive, we're going to go ahead and we're going to walk through how to navigate the Help Center within a project. We're going to find the appropriate request type, we're going to submit a ticket, and then we're going to see how you can view those tickets in your Help Center. To start, let's go ahead and go to our project. We're going to use the IT Service Desk project. Once we get taken to here, we are left with this landing page for the project. Within this, you can create what's called categories of documents. And what this allows you to do is to defaultly have sections of knowledge base articles that are from Confluence directly on the first set of the project. So that way, if there's certain information that is very commonly displayed and used, you can put that right here. If not, to get to all those request types, we just click on Need to raise a request. And now we are left with what is called our portal groups and our request types that are within them right here. So let's go ahead and let's submit a general help question to the IT Service Desk, and we're going to do that with Get IT Help. Any fields that you see marked with a red asterisk, these are going to be required. So in order to submit this issue, they must have a value. If I try to go ahead and click send, we can see here, it says, please provide a value for the required field, as there is an asterisk here. Note that on every single request, summary is always going to be required if it's able to be filled out on the request form, which I will go over in a little bit when we take a look at the agent side. This raise request on behalf of, this is an agent only feature. This allows agents to be able to go to the portal and submit issues for other customers. They can click on the drop down here, and then they're going to see a list of customers, and they can select who raised the request on behalf of. That way, when it's submitted, it's going to be under their name, and they'll be able to go through the requests for it. Let's say for this question to IT, I noticed that there's a new version of Zoom on my laptop, and I want to know if it's available to download. So in my summary, I'll say, can I install this Zoom update? Description, it's optional, but we can go ahead and add one anyway. So let's say it told me an update is available. Can I do it? We can see here another field here is attachment. It's optional. So if I wanted to attach a screenshot of it saying the pop-up message of an update's available, I could do that. Once I have all the information I want in my ticket, I can click on send. And now my request has been submitted. You'll see here I got this little pop-up box down here that says request submitted successfully. And I can see here that I have a work item key, which is going to be my unique identifier to my ticket. And I can see all the information that I filled in, including the summary and the description. Going down the side here, we do have some information and other features you can do after submission. So we can see here that my status for this request is waiting for support. I can turn on and off notifications directly for this request. I can escalate, resolve, or cancel my own request. I can see the request type, and I can also share this with others. So if I wanted to share this with my coworker, Brad, I type in his name, hit share, and now he is able to see this request. In this activity section, this is where any comments that I leave or the agent leaves, these are where they are going to be displayed. So if I say any status update, you can see here that once I add it, now this is in the activity section of this request. So let's go ahead and take a step back, and now let's submit a request that involves approval. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my groups of requests, and I am going to navigate to request a new laptop. In this case, because I want to demonstrate how the approval looks and I want to be the approver, I'm going to raise this on behalf of Brad. So reason for requesting new laptop, we're going to say that it is damaged. Any additional details? My cat stepped on it. Sorry. And then I have a question here that's required that says, which model would you like? So I'll go ahead and say that we'll say that Brad's going to get a new MacBook. Now that I have all the information I need to submit, I'll go ahead and hit send. And now we have this request is also submitted. So because I now have these two requests, let's look at where we can find these on the Help Center. Clicking on in the top right, your profile, there's going to be two sections here in the menu. There's requests. This is where you're going to be able to see all requests, and then approvals, which is only going to show issues related to approval. So if we click on request, what we're going to see here is that we can see all issues that I have submitted or that I have been shared with. I can filter these by status, which can also go into per project status. I can filter where it's only tickets that I created or where I'm a participant, meaning where I was shared them with. As well as I can also select the specific request type that I want to see, which will also go per project. If we come back up and go to approvals, this is where I'm going to be able to see any request that has an approval history. So right now this is saying waiting my approval. Currently it's showing that there is not any. And if I go to approval history, we can see here that in this issue, while it's not in approval, it shows that in here because I have initially approved it. If I come in here, I can even see it says Alexis Heritage approved this request, which I did. So now that we see what the customer side looks like, let's go ahead and take at what the agent side is. To navigate to the agent view quickly from an issue in the portal, we're going to go ahead and click on this work item key in this breadcrumb trail. And you'll notice that I have said both the word issue and work item. Note that Atlassian right now is in the process of changing this term to work item as well as updating the UI from the old version to the new. There are some areas that the term issue is still being used in, so you may see these in both locations. I may use the term both work item and issue interchangeably, as saying the term issue has been engraved to me, and it's a hard habit to die. But coming in, this is the agent view. Agents can view the ticket details such as any forms, attachments, and comments. They can use the status dropdown to move tickets through workflows. They can access suggested knowledge base articles for resolution assistance. As an agent, tickets are your core. They are your day-to-day work. This is where you come to work on your requests. So let's go ahead and explore the work items details view. I'm going to go ahead and go to the issue that I had just raised. So let's go to this one here. So what we have here, we have starting up here, this little hyperlink right here. This is what is called the work item key, previously known as the issue key. This is the unique identifier for this ticket. This key will not change unless this work item is moved into a different project. The summary here, this is going to give you that quick synopsis of the ticket. Like I mentioned before, this is a required field. It cannot be left blank. You can choose to let a customer fill this in via the summary field, or you can automatically set it by setting it in the request form or using automation for Jira. The request type on the right-hand side down here, this indicates the type of the request that the customer used to submit this ticket. This field can be adjusted by agents if the customer selected the wrong request type, or if the work item after looked into appears to be different than what was initially submitted, it can be changed. Request types is how you categorize specific processes that you want your customers to create tickets for. You can either hide request types or you can make them visible to only a specified users or groups on the portal, or hide it entirely that will only be just for internal use. If we scroll back up a little bit here, we have the status and the workflow. So by clicking on this dropdown right here, we're going to see this status dropdown. This is going to show me any statuses that this work item has direct ability to go into. If I click on view workflow, this is the full workflow that I can see of this work item. And each status corresponds to a step in the workflow, such as waiting for approval, waiting for support, resolved. This is going to tell me and be able to locate within what status where this issue can go to. So we saw that when we click this drop down that this work item can only get approved and go to waiting for support, or it can't be declined and it can go to cancel. Workflows can be customized to be as simple or as complex as you need them to be, with the ability to create your own statuses to identify the state of work that a work item is in. While transitioning issues is more of an agent feature or responsibility, you can configure your workflow to have specific transitions available to your customers to use. For example, we saw after I submitted the Get IT help that I had the ability to escalate, resolve, or cancel. Those are transitions that have been made available to the customer to be able to interact with and use on that portal. Coming down right here, we have our SLAs tab. Our SLAs, we have some visual representations of these timers. This green check mark means that the work item has successfully met the SLA. If it is orange, it means that the work item is at risk for breaching the SLA, but it hasn't breached just yet. And when we use the term breaching, we are meaning that it has not met the SLA. Red means that the work item has breached its SLA, meaning that you did not meet the time agreed requirement. Note that even once a work item breaches its SLA, it's going to still continue to count until it reaches its end condition for the SLA. If the work item meets a pause condition, even though it's paused and it's not going to continue counting, it's still going to show red since overall the SLA was not met for this work item. Anything gray, like we see here how this clock is gray, this means that the item is either in progress or it could be paused. If it is gray and paused, it means that it's not close to breaching the SLA yet. Any SLAs that you do make, they will apply to all work items in your project. However, you don't have to set a time goal if you don't want to officially apply a counting metric to the work item that is not related to the SLA. You can create as many SLAs as you want in your project. Just note that you cannot exceed 90 goals between your SLAs. Goals are how you define what is counted against your SLAs. These SLAs are counted against a calendar, which can either be 24/7 or they can be custom to fit a specific window of time. And the way that you target where these SLAs should be looking to is they use what's called Jira query language, or short for JQL. Sticking on this right-hand side, if we go ahead and look at this details pane, The details pane is always going to include very common fields such as priority, reporter, assignee, knowledge base. All these are always by standard going to be here. You can put most fields here and you can also remove fields. We did mention before about knowledge base, which is powered by Confluence. If we click on this dropdown, we can click and see related articles that are here. And if we click them, we can either view what that article looks like, or if we click on the share button right here, this is going to add this article as a reply to the customer. And if we hit send, now they have access to see this article. Agents can also directly create articles within these work items to send to a customer. Say if this problem doesn't already have a document yet, but you know this solution and that it's something that comes up very common. You can go ahead and create an article from the work item page and then save it, and then you can begin sharing it immediately to help your agents more efficiently close and work issues. Most fields, if you hover over, you're going to see this little thumbtack. This means that you can pin it. Pinning fields only pins them for you. Other agents will not have these same pins. Your pinned fields are going to apply per project. So in this project, I pin the reporter, but if I go to the HR project, this field's not going to be pinned. So you can make very specifics per project. This is very commonly used for fields that you use the most and that you get the most information out of. Therefore, you want to just have them at the top to not have to worry about scrolling or have them in a weird order. You can always put them up top. You can make these fields visible to the work item by placing them in the details section, or you can utilize the more fields section down here. And these fields down here, these are normally going to be empty. And when these fields have a value, they are going to move up into that details pane. You can add forms in work items by clicking on this add form here and then selecting the form. So in here, I can see a list of forms when I go to attach it. So if I click on here to attach a form, I click add. By default, it's going to set this form to be only internal, meaning the agent can fill it out. If I wanted to then make it accessible to the customer, if I click on these three dots, I click make form external, and now this is visible to the customer and they can fill this out. You can also link work items to other work items. So if I come back up here and I click on this little paperclip right here, it's going to ask me, do I want to link a work item? Do I want to link a Confluence page? Do I want to link an idea? Or do I want to link a URL? Coming down a little bit more, we have our activity section. And our activity section allows us to track actions and history. So coming down here, we can start by immediately seeing we can leave an internal note, which is going to be a comment that's only left for agents. Or if we hit reply to customer, this is going to be an external comment, which will be visible to the customer on the portal side. Note that when it comes to these internal notes, they are going to be visually defined with a highlighted yellow box. So if I say, as an agent, wait, there's an update. Actually, no, this is the laptop one. So we'll say, he broke it again. And I hit save. Now we can see here that this yellow box defines it as an internal note only. So this is not going to be visible to the agent side. I mean, this is not going to be visible to the customer side. With these responses, you also have canned responses. You can have canned responses that are either personal, meaning each agent can make them individual and they will only appear for them. Project admins can create shared ones that will be available to any of the agents on the portal. And these canned responses are good for example, I have one created here that says, hi, issue reporter. And this smart value is going to take the name of the reporter and it's going to insert it in the comments. So if I click on insert, we can see here it found the display name of the reporter, which was Brad, and I can hit send and I can send this to the customer. Or if I wanted to add more information, I can add that and then hit send. Coming down to the activity where we have comments, we can toggle this and switch between different sections. If I click on history, this is going to show me any area of whether that is a field change, a status change, all of that's going to be tracked under history. You can also see approvals in here. However, there is a separate approvals section, so you don't have to scroll through the history to see those. Work log, you can use these if you are utilizing time tracking within your project. Transitions does allow you to see where an issue is transitioning and how, actually, no, that is a add-on. So certain add-ons that you add can provide additional functionality. So for example, this add-on allows us to see when an issue was transitioned to a status and how long it's been. And then the approval section that I mentioned about, this is going to tell us when an issue has been in approval state, and then it's going to say who approved it, what was their approval decision. So instead of Vicky approving, if I set myself to be the approver and I come up here, I'll get this little box right here if I click approve. Now, if I go ahead and come down to this approval section, and we'll give it a little refresh, we can see here that, oops, it moved on me. We can see here that it says that I approved, and now that the approval step is complete, it went into the next status, which is waiting for support. You also do have attachments and linked work items, so any attachments that get added to this issue, you are able to view them and any of those work items. So if I were to link another work item to this, let's say I want to link to ITSD-970, and let's do 976. Now, when I link this work item here, I'm able to quickly access this other work item directly from this work item and vice versa. Similar work items does allow you to the ability to highlight other tickets with similar summaries or descriptions. These are very useful for identifying trends or reusing past solutions to requests. On this downside right here, we have this little tab called automation, and this does allow you to see any rules that have executed recently on this specific work item. In Service Management Bootcamp, we cover automations more in depth, but just at a very high level, automations consist of three components. We have triggers, conditions, and actions. An automation must know when it starts firing off, that's going to be your trigger, and it must know what it needs to do, and that's the action. An automation must be able to know to trigger, and it needs to know what to do. Conditions are optional, but it does allow you to further target down what scope of work items that you want to execute on. Coming down for more of the admin experience, we had mentioned about queues. Queues are vital for organizing and prioritizing tickets for agents. There are default queues, such as Assign to Me or All Open Tickets. Queues can also filter by tickets such as for criteria such as status, priority, or assignee. Project admins can customize queues based on teams' needs, which is backed behind JQL. And you also do have these columns, which you can customize, add, and remove as you need. These allow you to be able to sort and view specific information without having directly to go into the work item. Agents can also perform bulk actions. So if I click on more than one ticket, I am able to see up here that I can do certain things. So I could transition multiple issues at a time. If they were in approval, I could approve them. If I want to assign them to myself, I could do that, or comment. Or if I have a group of issues that I know that all relate to the same parent issue, meaning if it's a problem work item, I can click on work item and I can link them all to the same one together. Agents can also star queues. So if you have queues that are most commonly used, you can hit this little star right here, and all the queues that you star are going to be very visible right here under this area. So we can see here I starred my all open tickets and my tickets, and they are right under this starred section here. There are boards in JSM. If you are familiar with software, you will know about boards. There is Scrum and Kanban. JSM has added boards, which is more of a Kanban style that allows you to visually see your work items in more of a card format on a board. Just like in software, you can transition these to statuses they are able to go to. You are able to click on these work items, see the preview of the ticket, and be able to work on it. And just like queues, they are a good way for your agents to be able to work issues, especially for those who are more familiar with your software. It's as if you never left it. Coming down to an area of JSM that I specifically like is going to be those forms. So we'll go ahead and navigate to our project settings and click on forms. Project admins can configure request types and use dynamic forms to capture additional information from customers in a very flexible way. So how these dynamic forms work is these dynamic forms adapt based on customer input. You can show or hide fields as necessary using what is called sections. So for example, looking at this form right here, we have IT support request. If I scroll down, I have a section here that says if highest is selected for priority. So this is going to only conditionally show when priority is selected of highest. It's going to show this field right here that says, hey, give me some more information on how this is impacting customers. And then it's going to return back to always visible fields. And to view how that works, if I click on this preview tab, we can see here that that section asking for customer impact is not visible. No matter if I click on low, lowest, medium, or high, but as soon as I click on highest, there we go. There is the field that I had conditionally set. So for the agent perspective, you are able to dynamically see these. So on that issue, when we attached the form, we showed that we can utilize these forms even if it was not directly at the time of submission. From a customer perspective, if we look at one of those issues, we'll be able to then fill in the information after it is made external to the user. With that, we'll go ahead and also take a look at one of those. So I did attach to one of those issues the form. So if we go ahead and take a look at that issue, we go back to the portal view, which by clicking this hyperlink right here that says view request and portal, this is going to take the agent to the help center view of the work item. So now we can see here that this form is open for edits. If any of the fields that are in this form have already been filled out previously and they're linked to, it is going to take that information and push it into the form. So describe the issue has been linked to the summary, explain what caused the issue has been linked to description. Therefore, that information is already thrown in there. But now we can take it a step further and we can even fill out this additional information. So the priority is high. We are using Jira Service Management and we're gonna just say other. And with this one, this does conditionally say if other selected, add new option. And we'll say Brave. I can hit save, and what this is going to do is that it's going to allow me to still make edits, but it'll update it on the agent side. Or if I hit submit, it's going to save and submit. So now the customer is going to have this form locked on their side, and they will not be able to re-edit it unless the agent opens it. But they will always be able to see the information on this page. And if there's multiple forms on an issue, because that can happen if they click on this collapsible caret right here, they can decrease the amount of what they are seeing. With that, I'm going to go ahead and open this up to Q&A. So give me one moment and I'm going to check that Q&A box and let's see if we have any questions so far. And feel free if after all this right now there's a question that pop up, definitely start putting them in there. So Ivan asked, where do you go to edit the workflow? That is a good question, Ivan. So when it comes to these workflows, they are not centrally managed within your project. Jira administrators are going to be the ones who can edit those. But for anyone who's a Jira admin to edit those, What you would do is I don't have the permissions in one area, so give me 1 second and I will pull up an area to show you. So once you're in the agent view, if you click on the gear cog on the top right, this is going to give you not only your personal Jira settings, but this is also going to show you the Jira admin settings. Only Jira admins can modify workflows, they can create custom fields. It's not something your project admin can do, but what they can do is with these request types, they can switch the workflow that they are on from existing workflows that are currently out there. So in order to get to the workflows, we're going to click on work item. And within here, we're going to see it is under workflows. Once we click on workflows, we're going to see all the workflows that are available within the site. Active workflows means that these are workflows that are attached directly to a project and they are currently live. When you start to create a workflow, it's going to be an inactive workflow. So as you go through, this is where you're going to create them. Once you have your workflow ready, then you can go ahead and attach it to a issue type into a project. I'll even show you what one of those workflows look like going into. So we're going to find a workflow in here. Let's go into we'll go into this one. So when you go into edit a workflow, you're going to be left with this edit screen. This isn't the prettiest workflow to look at, but for our examples, this is where you're going to see all the stats in the workflow. If we click on the show transition labels, it's going to show us all of the transitions available, which let me find a nicer looking one for this example because we want to be able to see what it looks like. Let's go this one. There we go, that's a little nicer. So we'll spread this out just a little bit. And now we can see here all of the transitions that are available. If you click on an issue, you will have it highlight the transitions that a work item can go to from that status. You can add statuses by clicking on here. You'll be able to see a list of already existing statuses, or if you start typing a name in that doesn't exist, you can create a status directly from your workflow. And then once you have that, to add a transition, you can either click on the status you want to add it to, click on the little dot here, and then you can drag it to another dot on another status, or you can just click add transition, and then you'll just select the status that you want to go from to, give it a name, and then a description, and then a screen if you would like that to be there. And you can make those, I mentioned that there are those approval steps, those statuses. In order to have that type of approval that you saw, you have to make it an approval step, which in that case, the status in the workflow has to have two ways to go out. So it has to have two routes. One of the routes is going to be set up for when the work item is approved, and the other one's going to be set up for when the work item gets declined. Those are great questions to ask. And workflows are covered in our Jira Service Management Bootcamp. We don't go over necessarily the configurations, but we do go a little bit more into more into the information and about more of a background. And we do also go heavy into automation, which automation for Jira does allow for some customization and added functionality to the workflow. So you can make a work item transition to another status by using automation for Jira. You can make it close a bulk of issues. You can make it comment on a bunch of issues. The possibilities for that are pretty endless. I'm not seeing any other questions out there, but if there are any, definitely don't hesitate to reach out. I do want to thank you all for attending today's Jira Service Management Fundamentals webinar. To dive deeper into JSM and explore our training opportunities, definitely visit valiantys.com/training. If you have any questions or need further assistance, do not hesitate to reach out. And don't forget to register for that bootcamp as well, which is on June 3rd. It's a great opportunity to expand your knowledge of Jira Service Management. Not only do we cover the basics like we did in here, but we expand even further. So some fields that you saw on the agent view, we will go into those. We go over more of those functionalities. For any additional queries about JSM or any other Atlassian products, you can connect with me via email or LinkedIn. You're just going to scan the QR code on this slide right here. You can check out myself. You can also visit our YouTube channel. We do post content pretty regularly, whether that is major updates that come out from Atlassian. There are features that are some of our consultants like and solutions we've made that we will publish out. We even do guidance on how to do X, Y, and Z. Definitely check that out. Our YouTube channel is also a great way to stay up to date and learn about all there is that Atlassian has, not just with Jira Service Management. So with that, I'm going to close everybody out. So thank you again for coming and have a wonderful day.